Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And don't forget, if you want to listen to the news as a podcast when you're out and about, you can search for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But coming up today, CM Punk has fixed the Bobby Lashley, Rusev and Lana storyline.
The TLC 2019 main event revealed.
Potentially huge match set for Braun Strowman at TLC on Sunday.
And I've got a crazy armed robbery story from one of the biggest promotions in the world.
This is the news.
We're going to kick things off with something that we missed and something that a lot of people have seemingly missed given the lack of coverage this received over the past few weeks. And I have to thank viewer Charles Hamilton for emailing us this yesterday afternoon and pointing it out to us because it's something else. So on the 29th of November episode of SmackDown, Bray Wyatt brought back the Muscle Man dance to taunt Daniel Bryan as part of their ongoing program. Now, this segment was pretty well received on the whole, and it was picked apart and analysed in the usual ways, but something everyone seems to have missed was this split-second appearance here, Adam Wilborn, from a hooded, robed figure, clad all in red, with Bryan looking on. He or she flashed on the screen just like a few moments after the words "they are watching" had appeared in the background behind Bray. It was on the screen for a split second, turned around, and then cut out, only there for a flash, so it's understandable that people might have missed this. But, you know, WWE probably didn't throw this in just to mess with us, right? It's gotta mean something, Adam Wilborn, or is it just a load of bollocks?
Well, I'm torn because you remember all that speculation a while back when there was like was it like 11:19 on the clock and everyone was like, oh my God, The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then nothing really came of it, if we're perfectly honest. Having said that, these vignettes, certainly even before Bray debuted, were so thought out that there's nothing there by accident, is there?
Yeah,
So
usually.
I'm hoping this will play into something going forward, perhaps even at TLC on Sunday. This is the reason why, despite the Dudley boys ranting at me every single day, I'm still fully invested in this Bray Wyatt fiend character because it's just something a little bit different, something a little bit interesting. Whatever your opinions are on the way he wrestles his matches or the red light or whatever, there's just something intangible.
There we go.
It's nearly Christmas. That I can't put my finger on, that I'm fascinated by.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one for sure. I mean, just looking at the image again here, like, it's really hard to glean what that could possibly be. It's quite a slight figure, quite a small figure. Could be Bryan himself, maybe? I mean, the
Liv Morgan.
The Liv Morgan thing we've kind of beaten several times with a dead horse stick. I'm pretty sure that's the turn of phrase. It's nearly Christmas. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of this. It'll be cool to see actually if it's ever really paid off or if it was just a little tease to get people like us, idiots like us on the internet talking about it.
As you would say, WWE, you little scamps.
Yeah, rascals.
Right, let's move on and talk about CM Punk on WWE Backstage. He returned last night and, he brought a great plan with him. He has successfully managed to book the Rusev, Bobby Lashley and Lana storyline all the way up to WrestleMania 36. And I know we are rather fond of fantasy booking on this channel, so I'll run you through it. He also mentioned, by the way, the fact that they finally managed to make Seth Rollins interesting again by turning him heel and aligning himself with the AOP, and saying that the Hall of Fame will not be legitimate until they bring in every single member of the NWO.
Michael Wall Street.
But the voice of the voiceless said that what should happen is Rusev and Lashley bond over the situation, become drinking buddies, decide to team up, and then that leads to a bout against a new Lana-managed tandem at the Grandaddy of them all, with the former ravishing Russian suspended above the ring in a shark cage, and the loser, not the winner, the loser would be forced to keep Lana as their manager because everyone would be sick of Lana by this point.
I kind of like the idea. I kind of like the idea of Lana kind of being this person that attaches her to someone, and then like after a month or so, everyone's just like, actually, like, you're really awful, go away please, leading to this kind of story. It's good stuff, obviously done in good humour there from Chick Magnet Phil on WWE Backstage. It sounds like boatloads of fun. I love the idea of Bob Lashley and Rusev sinking a few cold ones a month or so down the line, with Lashley kind of realising that Lana's just really kind of a pain in the ass. Rusev summed it up best on this week's episode of Raw, didn't he, when he said basically, yeah, just take her, she's the worst. cool storyline, loads of fun. Loser keeps Lana. Sure, why not? We don't need that Judy Bagwell forklift. This is better than any fantasy booking scenario that we or anyone else has come up with so far.
And
CM Punk.
certainly Jerry Lawler would be happy about Lana being suspended above him in a shark cage.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Cancel the match now. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about TLC 2019. If you look at the card
It's
at the moment...
Sunday!
It's Sunday. 7 matches announced so far. No world title matches. That means on the men's or women's side. Nothing for Bayley. Becky Lynch is in a tag match. Bray Wyatt is facing The Miz in a non-title match. And Brock Lesnar isn't on the card. So... looking at the lineup, you might think, oh, there's no obvious main event here, and this has led to a lot of natural speculation as to what exactly might headline. Will it be Bray Wyatt versus The Miz? Will it be Roman Reigns versus King Corbin? Well, according to Cage Side Seats and their daily rumour roundup, it will indeed, or it could indeed, be Reigns versus Corbin. This is the clubhouse leader. The dog food angle is going main event, baby. Looks like we're getting Corbin versus Reigns to close things out. I hope there's no dog collars, I hope there's no dog food, I hope there's no dog mascot, but you really can't tell from this goddamn match and storyline, can you, brother?
No, I mean, I get it. It's a TLC match. It probably should headline TLC. I'm astonished that no one else has suggested the Becky, Charlotte versus the Kabuki Warriors for the tag team titles match, because that's basically last year's main event, which was great, with added Kairi Sane.
Yep.
It's great, but yes, it probably will be Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin, and he'll get his cathartic win back on the road to the Royal Rumble, probably.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Pedigree chum.
Speaking of TLC, though, and we reported just a few days ago about Braun Strowman's injury, back spasms and the like, but according to Dave Meltzer on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, Braun Strowman could be set for a sensational return at TLC against Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura, as someone he has never ever met one-on-one. Now, the usual plans can change, caveat applies here, but the speculation is that we could have it set up on this Friday SmackDown for this Sunday's pay-per-view. Andy Murray, what do you reckon to Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura?
Well, we should caveat this first of all by saying, because people will attack Dave obviously if this doesn't happen, but he does say that if WWE deem that Braun is healthy enough as well, that, yes, you know, people like shooting on Dave. Nakamura versus Braun, this is such an unpopular viewpoint, but it's my viewpoint, so I'm going to share it. I cannot possibly get excited about anything Shinsuke Nakamura does in 2019. I think he's content with a life of operating in third gear. I think that's absolutely fine, because he's been wrestling for a long time and he's very broken down and so forth, and he's not... I don't necessarily think he should be trying to do the 5-star matches thing anymore. But Nakamura's really boring to me. I still really like Braun. Sami Zayn's a great manager. Braun and Sami provide the intrigue there. Nakamura's... sorry, comment section. He's boring.
See, I'm the opposite here. I still love Shinsuke Nakamura, despite how many times I've had my fingers burnt with him. And the intrigue of a match that I've never seen before is always good. Sami Zayn has breathed new life into this Shinsuke Nakamura character. And for me, the only concern is the fact that if Braun faces Shinsuke, chances are Braun might win and take the IC title away from Shinsuke Nakamura, and that's the last thing they need.
I think that'd be really good. On the contrary, like, I'd like to see Braun just take the belt and like throw all these little pukes at him every single week and have him flatten them one by one. I think that could be good for the division, because it's not a work rate title anymore. It hasn't been that for a long time. Seth Rollins had some really good matches with it last year, and there've been some other really good matches along the way, but it's not what it was back in the 90s. It's never going to be that again. I kind of like the idea of the big monster holding this thing around his neck because it won't fit around his waist, and just kind of like beating a load of people and then set it up for like a big monster killing moment later down the line. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a match that'll exist.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section, like whether you think it's going to be a good match, whether or not you think Braun Strowman taking the title away from Shinsuke Nakamura is a bit of a robbery, Andy Murray.
Speaking of which, very nicely done there. We've got a story here from Mexico, CMLL, one of the biggest promotions in the world. If you're talking like attendances and so forth, they run a show in Arena Mexico every single week, 10,000 people or whatever. There every single week. They're one of the most undercovered promotions in English language media, certainly. But they fell afoul of a rather major crime this Monday in Puebla, Mexico. They held a show there, as they do every single week, and they were robbed of their entire gate, approximately 12,000 $100,000 of ticket money after the show. This is according to a write-up from Super Luchas, who claim that after the show, CMLL and the building officials fell victim to this armed robbery. People were threatened. The good news is nobody was hurt, but the assailants made away with the money. The police were informed afterwards. An investigation is underway, but no suspect has been detained or identified yet. This is a crazy, crazy situation, isn't it?
It's amazing to think something like that happens in 2019 as well. It's sort of like, you know, you imagine these sort of stories back in the old days, possibly.
Outlaw territory days.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in modern day Mexico, it's not something I would expect, and awful news, really. Like you say, the only saving grace here is no one was hurt.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like, it's just a really rough situation. Super Luchas do report that the arena played level was about 75% full that night for a night comprised entirely of trios matches, as is often the case with CMLL and other Lucha promotions. Just hope that whoever did this is found, brought to justice, the money's returned. CML have had an interesting year creatively, but they've got a lot of cool stuff going on in the ring. And if you want to check out the shows, they're all free on YouTube. So give them a whirl, show them some support in what is probably a bit of a pain in the ass time for them.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Eric Vasquez.
Legend.
Who says, could WWE's short-term booking lead them to another disastrous Rumble? Will guys like Roman, Kofi, KO, etc. be safe winning if Daniel Bryan catches fire again heading into the pay-per-view? This will be his return Royal Rumble match if he enters since 2015.
With regards to short-term booking, like, I actually think they've probably got a good idea of who they want to win the Royal Rumble in mind, and I think they probably have a good idea of the roadmap to WrestleMania for that. They just haven't shown their cards on television yet. So for me, I'm with you. I think Roman Reigns is going to win it, and I do think they intend on having Roman Reigns beat The Fiend at WrestleMania to try and put him over as the top babyface once more. But you know, if they flip the script and tear up all the plans and mess around with stuff, it's not actually always a bad thing, because we do criticise them rightly for the lack of long-term storytelling, but sometimes when they just make a last-minute change, it's pretty goddamn awesome.
Yeah, and as much as, you know, Daniel Bryan could be rehabilitated, and when he first came back, I think everyone was speculating that he could win next year's Royal Rumble match. I think at least this year, there's no like standout person of, if Roman wins, of, well, it should have been this guy. As much as I love Daniel Bryan, and I think he was my favourite to win the Royal Rumble a few months back, by the way WWE have booked it and the way WWE have handled Roman Reigns since he came back, it probably makes the most sense to have him win it and hopefully have that final sort of cathartic actual pop for Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble.
That would be great.
Second question today comes from Britton Thompson, who says, as another year comes to a close, which of WWE's male and female performers are ending 2019 in a far better place than where they were, where they started, in order to become your comeback player of the year winners? Britton says, it has to be Bray Wyatt and Bayley for me, but what say you?
Yeah, Wyatt's probably the ultimate one there, right? Because he was nothing. He was literally nothing at the start of the year. He was in the midst of a big, long hiatus. Not a lot of excitement for a potential comeback, but then that all changed with the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend. So, yeah, Wyatt's definitely the obvious choice. I think, like, on the undercard, you could point to a number of other guys, but for me, I know you're looking for other names in this answer, dear commenter, but yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah, unquestionably for me. I think he's done brilliantly well, and great to see Bayley, even though it's taken a heel turn to do it, get that recognition and what have you. And Seth Rollins has kind of turned it around. Not that he was in a bad place at the start of this year, but certainly in the summer he was.
Yes, he certainly was.
Final question today, Andy Murray, comes from Wilborn's mustache at shaved too soon.
Rest in peace.
Who says, thank you for this, seeing as I was recently disposed of, brackets, prick, close brackets, which wrestler who hasn't had one yet would best suit having me on their face? I feel I could do wonders for this Omega fellow.
Imagine Kenny Omega with his salt and pepper hair and a mustache. That'd be absolutely tremendous. This Omega fellow. Oh wow, man. This is my favourite gimmick Twitter account of all time, I think. Man, who could suit a mustache? Rusev should bring his back. Wow.
I would have said Robert Roode until last night.
Yeah, who's got like a doofy little face? Like some people...
Chad Gable.
There you go. That's a great shout. Or can you imagine Baron Corbin with just a little pencil thin one to make him even more detestable?
Yeah. Marco
would be
Stunt.
great. Marco Stunt, there you go. I mean, if he's even bless Marco Stunt, I don't know if 9-year-olds are capable of. I'm joking. He's like 23. I'm only joking. I'm just.
And I know he's already had one before, but I loved Cody's when he had it in WWE.
It was dashing.
Oh, it was very dashing.
Really good.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally. You know what day it is today, Andy Murray? It's Wednesday, which means it's Wholesome Hump Day, of course. And I just wanted to share with you, we discussed yesterday in a roundtable podcast, which should be coming out as a video soon, but if you want to listen to it before then, if you're so eager, it is out as a podcast now. All you need to do is search for WhatCulture Wrestling. We discussed people who haven't gone into the Hall of Fame, who should go in, and WWE on Fox tweeted yesterday, the next inductee into the 2020 Hall of Fame should be ... and Randy Orton has put forward the name of Ken Shamrock.
Yes, get in. Ken Shamrock's a delight, man.
I'd love to have him go in. I think he merits it. He's a legend of the industry. I'd also be fascinated to hear what he had to say in his speech.
Yeah.
And also, I know I mentioned this yesterday on the podcast, but I'm going to mention it again. For God's sake, put Christian in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's not fair. I saw that awful photo of him yesterday, standing with the Dudley Boys and Edge, just going, ooh, look at our Hall of Fame rings. And he's just like,
the Christian thing's kind of ridiculous. I wonder if Vince McMahon still hates his face. Yeah, get Ken Shamrock in there, man. The speech, even if it went on for like 3 hours of rambling nonsense, would be incredible. Enjoying something of a weird renaissance in 2019 as well.
Yeah, that's the only stumbling block, what with him being in Impact and what have you.
But you know, get some dick flick footage in there.
If Randy Orton is putting him forward, then he may stand a chance.
I think so.
Let us know your thoughts on that in the comment section below and all of today's news stories. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, as I said, on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys will be previewing the Wednesday Night War a little bit later on today. You can let us know your thoughts on Twitter and send us your Twitter questions as well at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Herb.
You can follow me at Adam Wilward. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.